Welcome to the 2025 Vibroacoustic Therapy Masterclass. My name is Narissa Young. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Chris Deuel, composer with Inner Solutions. Chris specializes in creating sonic journeys that blend previously disparate genres into a coherent expression of emotion. His music is intended to be the soundtrack to the listener's healing journey. All right. Well, I want to hear more about that. Tell me more about your experience in creating music specifically for vibroacoustic and where you came from before that from a composer standpoint.
Yeah, so as a young child, I was attracted to sounds. And I remember being like maybe 5 years old and like finding a stethoscope at my grandparents' house and just being fascinated by putting it up to things like electronic things like a refrigerator or other types of machinery. And like to me, it sounded like very musical and very like interesting. Around that same time, there was a piano around the house. And I figured out if you played just the top five black keys, you got a pentatonic scale. And it sounded kind of like non-Western. It sounded like something alien to me. And I just like improvised on that, not really knowing what I was doing. I think since I showed some interest in music and sounds, my parents figured out a way for me to start taking lessons. So that journey started with guitar when I was like 6. When I was like 15 years old, I moved in with my father in Arkansas. He had a vibroacoustic massage table that he had built by hand. And he had this like little business that he was sustaining himself off of called Inner Solutions. And he was kind of like a far out guy, very new age, and all of his friends were into crystals and mythology, and they were psychics, and they were like people who figured out how to make a living on the fringe. And
Mhm.
this like very much attracted me because it made me realize like, oh, maybe I don't have to do something like very conventional with my life, which wasn't what path I felt I was on in the first place. But when I lied down on this vibroacoustic massage table, I feel like as a teenager, I had like a pretty like difficult upbringing and I was always looking for ways to like escape my body, whether it be through like drugs or like different behaviors. I was trying to get outside of myself. And this was the first time that I got called like into myself. And
Oh,
it felt
beautiful.
safe to be in my body. And it felt like beautiful. And like immediately I realized like, oh, I want to make music for this thing, you know? And I was initially so attracted to it because other forms of music, you can go to the library, you can figure out like how to compose classical music, how to compose romantic music, how to compose like tone rows and all these things. There's books you
Mhm.
can get out, but you can't get a book out of the library that tells you how to compose vibroacoustic music. So
Yeah.
I was just like, I felt like called to take the journey and like start producing music for it. So I kind of like when I was like 15, um there was a I want to say like 4 month period where I was homeschooled, but all I did was read books about music and watch YouTube videos about music production. And I ended up a year later producing my first like full length ambient album and releasing it through my father's website, Inner Solutions.
What's the
And
name of that album?
I think it's called Conscious Flight.
Yeah.
And it's one that like I didn't know what I was doing, but like the vibe is there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
And
it
like
is.
we still sell it because it gets good feedback still. And my process of creating music and all the instruments I'm using now has like changed so much, but there's still like something to the first one just because it there was like a freedom in not knowing what I was doing and not feeling constraints. And also when you're a kid, you're not worrying about bills. Is this going to make me money? Et
Right.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just like pure expression. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like how I began this journey.
It's a great
Um,
place to start from. And, you were so blessed to have that experience of, moving in with your father at the age of 15 and being exposed to all these outside ways of doing things and high creatives probably. I'm looking forward to interviewing your dad for this series as well. He's going to talk more specifically about equipment creation. So I'm very interested to know more about that.